Hey, what's up flight simmers, my name is Roro and today I have a very exciting video which I've been wanting to make for a very long time, and that is because I finally got my hands on the Honeycomb alpha controls. Now what this is a higher quality yoke which I will be replacing my SciTech series with, and eventually will be replacing my throttle quadrant by SciTech as well, but today we are going to be looking at probably the best yoke money can buy currently on the sim market. So as you can see, this box is a very well produced box. It looks absolutely amazing, and they have absolutely smashed the marketing and design of it. So inside the box we have obviously a information manual along with some other pieces inside of there, so like advertisements at other companies and other products. We also have some cables, so that will be an Ethernet cable and also a USB Type-C. And probably one of the most important parts to make this thing come together is the clamp, which clamps onto your desk. Now with this clamp there are two different types of mounting. You have the actual clamp and then you have a sticky pad which is underneath. Now revealing the main part, we have the actual yoke itself. It is very well tightly packed, and well, looking at the industrial packing itself, I am very happy with the way it was transported. No damage at all to it. Also tightly packed inside, which was right next to the yoke, we also have the two clamps which will mount onto the mounting plate. So as I place it on top, we can finally have a good look at the yoke itself, and just wow, it just looks amazing, it really does. So coming to the left hand side, we have a hat switch button, a trim button which are actually two buttons, meaning you have to press them both at the same time for them to activate, and an unmapped button so you can allocate it to a button yourself. So moving to the right, we have a autopilot disconnect button, another unmapped button, and a rudder trim switch. And moving to the core of the yoke, we have a magneto switch. Moving to the left hand side of the core, we have our master switches, avionic buses, and also our exterior lighting such as beacon, landing lights, taxi, navigation, and strobes. Now to the rear of the yoke, we have the USB Type-C connection and also a button which will dim the lights on the front of the yoke. We also have a button on the rear of the left hand side of the handle, which will be your comms button, which allows you to speak to air traffic control. Now as you can see, it's a very sad moment for myself as I am now removing my SciTech yoke, which I have spent hundreds of hours across different sims, and it has served me well. However, I do have to make space for the new yoke. So as you can see, I am attempting to clamp my desk mount to my desk. However, the clamps do not open wide enough for my IKEA desk, and with that I'm having to resort to the sticky pad which is on the underside of the desk mount. Now I do have to say, every single time you do remove the desk mount, I do recommend you put back on that plastic sheet to cover the sticky pad, as over time it will actually decrease in its stickiness, so just remember to keep it covered when you're not using it. So the actual sticky pad itself is very effective, and it really did shock me quite a lot, as you can see me literally almost lifting up my whole desk with me just lightly pressing it on. So well done Alpha Controls, that is an absolutely brilliant secondary mounting method for those who cannot use the actual physical clamps. Now actually sliding on the yoke itself to the mount can be difficult at first, as you are having to find those little holes which the actual yoke mounts into, but once you get used to it after a few times, it becomes muscle memory, and the actual mounting method is 10 times better than the SciTech one, I do admit. So there are two cables which you need to use to plug in, the first one being the Ethernet cable which connects the handle to the core of the yoke itself, as you can see here. And then finally at the rear you have the USB to USB Type-C which you need to plug in to power the unit itself. The front LEDs have 5 modes, as you can see right here, and they are controlled by the button at the rear of the yoke. Right here you can see me testing the buttons and the switches, especially the magnetos, and there's only one thing which I do have to comment about, and that is the switch for the magneto. I do wish it had a spring loaded button when you go from both to start, just like it does in real life. So as simple as that, I have now set up my yoke. I do not require to download any software or drivers. I can simply just plug it in and play straight away, as I have done here. Now, after testing it, I do admit the sideways movement, being the rolling movement or using the ailerons, is a very smooth movement, especially with it going from 0 to 90 degrees, both positive and negative, which is a major plus compared to the 45-degree movement in the SciTech. And also the pitch or the elevator, where you pull back and forwards, is a lot more stiffer, which you would usually find in aircraft in real life. So the actual feeling of the Yoke itself is absolutely superb in terms of comparing it to a real life aircraft. So doing what everyone else would do, I took one of my favourite aircrafts, which is the Cessna 152, out for a quick spin, and I do have to say, having that full 90-degree movement really does improve your smoothness of your flying, and even just the actual pitch itself on the pulling back and forwards on the Yoke is so much better. And as you can see, my landing is probably one of my better ones, being the first time I've ever used this Yoke. I was expecting myself to have to get used to the actual movement of the Yoke, but nope, I adapted to it straight away and the actual feel of it was perfect. So to conclude this unboxing and review, I really don't have many complaints about this Yoke, other than the fact that I wish they had a spring-loaded switch on the magnetos. Other than that, the feel of the Yoke itself is absolutely amazing, and it has drastically improved my flight sim experience in terms of realism and also just getting a feel for the aircraft itself. So if I was to recommend to buy the SciTech or the Alpha Yoke itself, it really does depend on the person. If you're just getting into the flight sim community and you just want something which is cheap, effective and easy to use, I would absolutely suggest the SciTech. However, for those transitioning from that beginner period to the more amateur or professional side, I would absolutely recommend switching over to the Honeycomb Yoke, as it improves your flight sim experience so much better. However, it does cost that extra bit of money, so please do keep that in mind. So that's it today, people. I really do hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If there's anything which you would like to add to it, please make sure you do comment it below. Other than that, please make sure you do click on that like, subscribe and also that bell button. And also we have a Discord server where we discuss the latest flight sim news and also just general hardware, software and so on within the flight sim community. So thank you all for watching. My name has been Rovo. See you later.